Two, check. 1, 2, check your mic. Check your mic. Check. Mic check a one. Mic check a two. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Okay. Volume all the way
Dusty
up.
mics.
Dusty mics. Dusty ass.
Then I'm gonna watch some football coming down.
Yeah.
Football, baby.
Nothing like
Just
getting lost in football.
give them a game. They will be entertained. Give them the
Yeah.
game.
Keep them fucking sleeping.
Keep them sleeping.
See,
So let's count it up.
these
What?
cups should be fucking amp collected coffee cups that people can buy.
Yeah. We gotta.
We
This is man. We got a lot of stuff we could do. A lot of stuff. We
we
never
gotta
printed
do it.
those. Well, we gotta raise some money. We gotta raise some money. I
So
mean, we gotta play some gigs. There's a lot of things have to fall. All the dominoes have to be in place, brother.
well, fuck, we gotta start making them in place.
Well, we're not making it playing the gigs. That's not gonna happen. I don't care how you slice
A
it.
lot.
Not in Los Angeles. That's a wrap. That's a wrap. The one venue that we did play at, we did decent, but the crowds change. The crowds change. The place has changed. We can probably go there and make. We have not even making a few dollars at that spot. It's not even a few. And the groove isn't the same anymore, man.
Yeah,
And I don't
right.
know what it is. Maybe it's me. I'll just say it's us, whatever. But you can't tell me that there's a spot in LA come Saturdays. It's day party. It's free to get in. House music, cool food and drink. And it's not heavily attended. That doesn't make sense to me.
All right.
All right, it does not make sense to me. So I can't say that it's me. It's something else. It's something else. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that this music is not trending young. It's just not. It ain't. And the people that grew up with it are in our age. They're 50. I hate it. I'm stumbling the words to get out of my mouth to say 50 when they're
Then
50 up.
why are we doing this? What's the point?
I do it for the love of the music. It doesn't matter if people come or not. I will have my setup playing house music when I feel like it. Just to the day I die. That much I know. I'm never gonna give up music and the ability to express myself musically ever.
Hmm.
That much I know. So I'm trying to. Okay, we recording. What are we doing? We are recording, but it's not. This is not a catch up. I don't want to get into it. Like, but okay, we're recording. You want to keep this? Okay, we'll keep it. Fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, because I said that because
Well,
I
this whole
think
thing is
that
supposed to be about house music. I mean, gospel influence. I can say that's influence. Gospel facet aspect of house music. That's what I'm about to say. Not an influence. It's an aspect.
well, I mean,
But yeah, go back to what we were saying. Like, yeah,
yeah,
for me, I'm gonna keep on. I'm gonna keep on keeping on. I don't think I can never. It's like I'm also a photographer, so I can never not. I hate to say double negative, never not. Um, but somehow it seems more apropos, strangely enough,
right,
to take photographs. Same thing I feel about playing music and playing house music in particular.
right.
You know what I mean? I'm always gonna have a turntable. I'm always gonna play a little violin when I want to. I was gonna dig in the crates. I'm always gonna go to a record store when I visit someplace. I'm always gonna pick up a few. I'm always gonna do that. It's part of who I am.
Right. The reason why I said why are we doing this because you said you think it trends older. I think I don't think I know I disagree with you because if you go on, there's young people that are doing house music. The thing might be they just don't want to, go see the old dudes play. There's younger DJs out there right now that are playing. Like when we just went to go to Derek Wise's thing and did that thing, like Jack.
That was the son of a DJ. Okay, that's not the same thing.
Well,
That's the
I,
son of the. He grew up with that music in his house from his father. So don't say yeah. And everybody else was over of a certain age.
Yeah, I mean,
I
when you
can't
go to
use
our
that example.
YouTube channel and is our demographic is older, but
I'm not saying the DJs aren't there. That's not. I didn't say anything about the DJs. I'm talking about the music.
well,
The music does not have that draw. Tell me when the last time you went to a house music party and you saw the average age 25, 30? Tell me.
it wasn't in America. If you go to like
Okay.
South Africa
Well,
or
guess I
if
don't live in South Africa.
I
I
know
don't
you
live
don't
in
live,
Europe. I live here.
I'm
I'm
just
talking about
saying,
here. I live where the music was created. So I'm talking about that aspect. So that's a. I'm not. I was going to get to that in a minute. So get. Oh, hang on.
what's happening?
Um,
Did you run out of space?
no, 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 no. Lori just calling. Okay. Back to the meeting. Back to the meeting. We're back.
Back to the meeting.
Um. Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know some of the people that are digging it are into it because of some other reason. I think dig it because it's hot, because it's a replacement for EDM, which is what they're into. And EDM is so crazy. The term means electric dance music. Well, house is also electric dance music or dance music all over. A lot EDM though, the electronics of the music is in a lot of different genres of music. So whatever, but they're not into it like the culture of it, not just the music. It's a culture, and the culture of it seems to be waning drastically, especially in in Los Angeles. I hate to say it, in here,
Yeah, I
and that's
agree
what I'm
with you
talking
on
about,
that.
and that's what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
it's time to like go beyond the borders of LA County. It's yeah, you're right. It's like every time you play is well, it's we are older, and that's who we
No,
see
man,
out
let me
there.
tell you something. When it comes to this music, I would go out to see DJs that are older than me that have been doing it a little longer because, for the most part, they're pulling from everything. They're pulling from the very beginning of house music to the middle to now. They're pulling all types of stuff. And some of this stuff never really existed before. Not to say like I'm big on remixes of popular songs, because back in the day, a lot of this stuff was just original music. But some of the stuff that I've heard, some Michael Jackson remix of Whitney Houston, some Shaka reinterpreted, even and whatnot. I'm like, okay, I'm digging that too. But some of these older guys, man, really know what they're talking about. They can go deep in the crates and hit you. And I like listening to that. Not the same thing, nothing disparaging about the youth.
Well, I think I think
But go
I
ahead.
think it's the music because they did an interview with Earth, Wind, and Fire, and they're talking about how when they have a show, it's like a cross generational, audience. You have people their age, their kids, and their kids. It's like three
Well,
generations of
yes,
people
but
that
that
listen to that music.
but their music is timeless.
Right.
Okay, that music is timeless. Matter of fact, if you really think about it, their music was ahead of its time. That's why it seems like people are catching up. It's like it doesn't really get old. On some level, it's still advanced. They were talking about spirituality and things like that way before anybody else was. So they were ahead of the curve. They had the groove and everybody was digging it, but the spiritual aspect of their music, I'm not sure people really got right off the bat. Some did, some didn't. They were on a different tip from the jump. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like I'm not sure you can put it this way. I'm not sure if you go to a Commodores concert, you can see the same demographic. Put it that way. Yeah, I'm sure you go to Barclays. It's gonna
Oh
be it's
shit.
gonna be like that. You know what I mean? Not to say they wouldn't, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying it's highly unlikely.
Okay.
I listen to Earth and Fire today. In fact, I'm actually starting to look at my collection of Earth, Wind, and Fire music and start trying to see if I have everything that I want. There's a couple of things that I'm missing that I want, and some of the things I had way before
Mm,
the quote unquote the meat of Earth, Wind, and Fire music. I got stuff that was like produced by Maurice White from back in the day that was really some ethereal stuff, man. It's almost like it was jazz. You know what I mean? It was
right.
like on that tip. You know what I mean? It was like fusion, if you will, back then. I got some of that stuff. That's really cool. And they got to work with some other people, David Foster and some other cats, and put something together.
Right.
In fact, if you into Earth, Wind, and Fire, there's a very two movies that I saw. One was Sergeant Pepper's Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band with the Bee Gees and Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Peter Frampton's in it. And then there's one with Earth, Wind, and Fire and Harvey Keitel.
Mm,
Very interesting movie, man. Not super interesting, but you're like, damn, is that Harvey Keitel? Is that Earth, Wind, and Fire?
right.
I want to know how that meeting came together. Yeah, I got an idea. He puts Earth, Wind, and Fire, Harvey Keitel in the movie, and Harvey
Right.
Keitel played a producer, record producer. Interesting movie. Anyhow, get a chance to go check that out. Forgot the name of the movie, but if you Google Harvey Keitel, Earth, Wind, and Fire, I'm sure it'll pop up.
Gotcha.
But yeah, man, it's like I think it's weird that some of the best music experiences, and that's really what it is all about for me with this house music thing. It's a musical experience that you really can't get from a lot of other genres of music where you can actually participate and dance and move to whether you know the words to this stuff. It doesn't have to be a hit. It doesn't have to be something that's popular that you've heard on the radio. It could be something from today or something from yesterday, whatever it is. But you're
Yeah.
moving and grooving and experiencing something. And maybe it has something to do with the fact that it's the BPMs is a higher BPM, which is closer. I've heard this before, where it's closely related to your similar BPMs of your heart, beats per minute.
Mm,
So
okay.
that's that's something about that that's you know makes it some sort of a connectivity between those two things makes it so
Right.
spiritual. I don't know, but I know I've always thought about disco was it back in the day. Then it got turned around, or somebody didn't like it and decided that was it, and somehow that groove just went underground. And this will probably happen to house as well. It probably will go back underground when somebody decides that, hey, we don't want to play house no more. And it won't be the guys that are of our age. It won't be the guys that who have been putting it down. Because like I said, it's like I don't think, and I don't think I know I will always be playing this music and exploring this music and learning from this music. But anybody that's kind of like jumped in the game that maybe came from some other genre of music, and if it's not doing certain things for them in a certain timeline, they may be like, you know what, I'm out. I'm gonna do this, something
Yeah.
else. And that's not what it's like for a lot of the people that make this music. I mean, you can't tell me of any major significant hits on the radio in the last 2 years, 4 years, maybe longer,
Mm,
of house music. Maybe there's some Beyonce thing that popped up, and a little Drake did a little something. I get it, put a little tension on it. I get it. But across the board, you don't see an on-air presentation of the Grammys for house music. You don't.
nope.
You know what I mean? Not to say I'm not. I say that it's not there. I'm sure there's some sort of recognition for the recordings and people that do that music, but really, you know, that's not what's up.
Right.
You know, and maybe there's a connection to the fact that there's not a lot of clubs. I couldn't tell you what club to go to in LA. I couldn't tell you of a club to go to in New York. I'm sure they exist, but I couldn't. Maybe I'm out of the loop. But when I used to go out to clubbing,
Mm,
I went out to get a groove on.
yeah.
And even at a certain point, hip hop had a groove. You would go out and it was celebratory, and you still caught a groove. So even if house music or disco wasn't in the building, the groove was still there. And now I see a lot of that's kind of like slipping away.
Yeah.
You got dressed, you put your clothes on, you put some smell good on, you go out there, maybe try to holler at, a dip or two, you know what I mean? Do what you do. Let the
Uh,
let the
were you
pheromones
young?
fly. Not so
You
much.
Gen Zers, a dip means, it's yeah, somebody you're attracted to.
Well, I'm not gonna blame them. I'm not gonna blame them because they got shortchanged. Some of them have started to wake up on that tip. That yeah, man, I got gypped. Got
Let
gypped on a
me
lot of shit.
bring in a light. I look like I'm in the shadows and shit.
All right, man. I'm gonna be ready. My mic's gonna be ready. My light's
Ah!
gonna be ready. I'm gonna be ready. That's what you said. Ain't that right, Coltrane? Coltrane. There you go, boy. Coltrane, Coltrane, coming down the track with a whole bunch of money in a sack.
Or let's see.
Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-bum, bum, 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 ba-da-bum, bum, 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 ba-da-bum. My man got some white. Where'd you get them rockets from, man?
Huh?
Where'd you get them white monitors from?
Where did I get what?
The speakers.
Oh, Amazon.
Okay. I knew you got down like that, getting fancy. I know you know how to do that.
Well, this is my other little setup.
Oh, that's a production. You got some sound deadening on the car. I see you playing. I see you,
Yeah,
man.
little,
Okay.
we gotta get it together. Shit.
Okay.
One one day at a time.
One day at a
Day at a time.
time,
Okay.
my brother. One day at a
A little
time.
bit better, but I got some kind of janky shit going on here. Shit.
Okay.
Just, yeah, I like the profile light.
Okay. Profile it is. Profile it
Need to get one
is.
of them ring lights.
Yeah. You got to get your
Sunlight.
setup going.
Okay. This I can fix this shit. Fuck, I am not worried
Okay. Okay.
about it. Okay. Let's see.
I don't know what you're doing, but you're taking up an awful lot of time. I'll tell you that much.
I'll just light. It'll be fine. Shit. It is what it is. We got what 1,000 people out there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey, it keeps fluctuating on the light. What is that about? It gets brighter and then it gets darker. What is that?
Oh shit. What's that? What's
What
happening?
what what setting you have on there? On your, yeah, I don't
Oh,
know.
it's
Setting when
going
it gets light, it gets dark.
video, FaceTime, blur my background. Maybe I'll just blur the background.
Oh, you blurred the whole thing. Isn't that funny?
Fuck.
One in the lonely. There you go. That helps. No, it doesn't. But whatever.
No, that's weird. I told you I'd be ready, D. Shit.
Yeah, you did.
I'm gonna
Ready
run
for
out of
some
fucking.
bullshit. Is what it is. Ready for the
Let's see.
bullshit.
It's just background and effects.
No effects. Can we just keep on?
Filter.
I'll be here playing Words with Friends
It's
when you
probably
figure.
because I have the light, this fucking shit open. Hold on. Eh, hang in there, buddy. I
I'm
should have just
hanging.
went out where I was usually.
Yeah.
What are we talking? Yeah, much better. Are you
Okay,
there?
man. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. One is the lonely.
Okay.
Great. Okay. You're all set.
Yeah,
Okay.
good as it gets today.
Okay. 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 For those of you watching this podcast and listening to it, you see that there's also sometimes an amazing amount of wasted time.
God damn the light.
Okay, these people can't see you.
Well,
Podcasters, people on the podcast with the blend, they can't see you.
we should
Reminder:
just
this
put.
is Blend LA, everybody. This is Blend
Yeah,
LA, the podcast dedicated to the culture of house music.
yeah. We may
So wherever
only,
you,
every 100 days we put up an episode. Just bear with us. Times are hard in America. Shit.
And there's that. There's that. No lie
Anyway,
about that. No lie about that.
okay. I'm ready to go. Some
Is
things
that
to say.
it? Okay, use some of the extra. Here we go. Five, four, three, two. Welcome to Blend LA. My name is DJ Big D.
And I go by Albius Negroni.
This is the culture. Bleh. Let's go again. Five, four, three, two. Welcome to Blend LA. My name is DJ Big D.
And I'm Albius Negroni.
Together we are the AMP Collective, and this is the Blend LA podcast dedicated to the culture of house music by the AMP Collective. We want to bring you what we got, the best in house music, information, news, commentary, a lot of that, a lot of commentary about house music. So there it is. We haven't done this in quite some while, so if we're a little bit rusty, please bear with us. We will get it all together. We've been doing things here and there, neglecting our once loved podcast, but we decided in 2025 to drill down on this bad boy because we think it's important and we have a little bit more time. We've carved out some more time to make sure that we do our due diligence and our best to bring you information on house music at Blend LA. Negroni, how you been, bro?
I'm good. You're such a great speaker. I'm glad you do the intros.
Well, it's a team, baby. It is a team. It is a
I've
team.
been I have been good. Just want to say to everybody that listens in and watches our podcast, we've been away for a while, and we're going to definitely create more content more frequently in 2025.
Yeah, there's been
Definitely.
quite a lot, quite a lot. We last year we were able to go to Coney Island and play with Curly on the boardwalk. That was interesting. We never did a podcast about that, but we were just basically collecting content and trying to live a little bit in this whole house music community, trying to see what it's like, and not necessarily bring everything back and reporting on everything. Sometimes I think it's just important just to live it, and as opposed to just go there to content create to gather information without living in the space, and that's what we were doing a little bit of last year, really seeing what's going on, feeling it out a little bit more. What's happening there? What's happening here? What's happening in Atlanta, New York, LA? Trying to understand what's happening around the world when it comes to this culture.
Yes. And like we haven't done a podcast in a while. And one thing I wanted to mention was last year, 2024, was the 40th year anniversary of the birth of house music. So a lot of things popped off. One thing that went down was the actual warehouse, the building where the warehouse in Chicago started, actually got historical. It's now like a historical landmark, so they can't. It's there. It's there for the people to be there for whatever number of years. So they did a huge dedication to the people that started the warehouse, which was Robert. What was Robert's last name? Shit, I'm gonna have to look it up. Anyway, so that happened with the warehouse. They did a dedication to the warehouse. It's now a historical landmark. And also last year, we lost a great voice in house music, Chuck the Voice Roberts, who we
Yes. Yeah, if you get a
were
chance, go out and check it.
very lucky. We were very lucky to have on our podcast a couple years ago. So we lost him. Um, yeah, it was quite the year. What is this? I got to look up his name because I can't like not know this guy's name. So go ahead and talk, D.
Yes, Chuck the Voice Roberts. You get a chance to go check out that podcast that we did on Blend LA about Chuck the Roberts voice. Chuck the Voice Roberts.
Right.
About house music. Like I think it was a one take thing. In the beginning, there was Jack, and Jack had a groove. If you knew that opening, that is the voice of Chuck Roberts. Chuck the Voice Roberts, one of the cornerstones of house music. That voice, that saying, and basically, as far as I'm concerned, sets the tone about the spirituality and the groove and the commitment and connection to house music was for me that record. That
Right.
sent
Absolutely. So Robert Williams, My apologies. It was Robert Williams who founded the warehouse back in what, the late 80s, I would imagine. Yeah.
I would say early. I remember because I got into house like in '87, so it's a little earlier than that.
Okay.
Probably like '82.
Got you. Yeah, so it was dedicated as a landmark in
Mhm.
2023, but they did a huge thing for it last summer. Yeah.
Speaking of which, I've heard for a long time. I also believe this for a long time. People say that's when the music, that's what the word, the genre house music got its name is from the warehouse. And then I heard it disputed by I think Wayne Williams says no, that's not the case. It wasn't the warehouse. It was the fact that uh, these kids were young, and a lot of clubs didn't necessarily allow them in the club, so they would basically go to people's houses, homes to have parties and play music. So that's where it came from. It came from actually playing at home, house music, not
Cool.
not the warehouse.
Okay.
But it's one of those things that at the time no one really cared so
Mm-hmm.
much, and as time go on, people were looking for more and more information. Really, you want to put a stamp on things. Like right now, we will say what's in the lexicon is that Frankie Knuckles is the godfather of house music, and you're not gonna find too many people that will dispute you on that.
Mm-hmm.
But there were a lot of people producing house music before Frankie and DJing before Frankie as well, but never got that moniker as being called the Godfather. And somehow, somewhere, and like I said, even amongst the heroes and sheroes of house music and house music DJs, no one would dispute you on that. To say that Frankie Knuckles is the Godfather of house music,
Right.
I'll go with it.
Let's go with that.
I'll go with it. Met Frankie Knuckles once at the World in New York.
Yeah,
If
you
you know
told
about
me about that.
If you know, you know. The World was a funky old place, a funky old theater.
Mm.
I think it was an old vaudevillian theater in the Lower East Side, and fell on hard times. So you go in there, and see some dilapidated furniture and stuff. But when that music came on, man, it was next level.
Wow.
Next level. New York in its innocence. That was a day. That was a time.
I got to ask you a question. You're recording on your end, right?
I am. Why?
Because mine's on a countdown.
So is mine.
Look,
I think that's what I'm watching your countdown as well.
6 minutes.
That's what it says.
That's not good.
I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure what that means, brother.
Yeah, who we might have to start this over.
Well, let's wait until the end
Oh
and see
my
what happens.
God, D.
Yes, sir.
We're in my Zoom meeting. We're not in the app collectives.
Okay, so what does that mean?
That means we gotta fucking shut it off and pick it up and
Okay.
edit it. We will edit. You know what I mean? We will keep going, but we got to shut it down and you have to invite me in. For some reason, somehow I invited you to my Zoom meeting rather than you invite me today.
Okay, so what do you want me to do? Shut it down right now?
Shut it down right now and
And
we'll
then
just
that means
piece
you.
it together.
Okay. All right.
And then you got to send me a invite link. Yeah,
Bye.
later. We're just rocking and rolling today, man.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, so what were we just talking about? You were talking about
Frankie Knuckles, the godfather of house music, where it all came
right,
from, the name Warehouse, where that came
right.
from, all that good stuff in between.
Okay, and I think that's a good segue into what we're actually supposed to be talking about.
Yes, we're talking about gospel house, that aspect, genre of house music, and how closely connected it is to house music. In other words, for
Right,
me, it is or needs to be a bigger cornerstone in the genre because really, spirituality aspect of this music runs throughout. It runs throughout the entire genre of house music, whether it is actually called gospel house music or not. Funny
right,
thing is, there's lots of stuff that's out there, or the genre of soulful house music. Our brother DJG in the UK That's his particular area of expertise. He only spins pretty much soulful house music, which I guess is also a combination of, I would think, of gospel house music. Now,
Right.
there's some stuff that have been out there, and those of you that are listening in on this podcast, if you'll be hearing a mix done by Albius and myself, and those of you viewing on YouTube, we'll make a link so you can check out the actual mix that we're doing because we can't. It's the whole thing why we can't put the mix on YouTube as opposed to how we can put it onto the podcast. So we're gonna basically separate the audio from the video and the video from the audio and the thing
Yeah.
to the thing and the boom the boom. But if you want to hear the full broadcast and the full mix, you gotta check out the podcast, the audio version, and that's where it will be. So you will hear gospel gospel house. Now, for me, there was one particular track that was gospel house without me even knowing it at the time. This was probably in 84, 85. Tremaine Hawkins, Fall Down. Let the
Okay.
Spirit Fall Down on Me. Had no idea this was a gospel song. Had
Mm.
no idea this was a gospel singer. And I think there's another one. There's a couple of tracks that she did. I'll probably have to research and get them both for this track. But there was like such power, such like upliftment in it. If I
Right.
have to have, so there was like, and the beat was so strong. Like, there's no way this could be like a gospel song. It's like
Mm.
majorly secular. There's no way this could be this, but it was. It was. It was
Right.
all in the clubs. As a matter of fact, I turned on to WBLS. I have a smart speaker and whatnot. I can also one of those things. Google. I basically went on and told it to tune into WBLS. And sure enough, that's why I love New York. New York keeps it 100. As the kids would say, keeping it in the buck, would play house music and played Tremaine Hawkins like it was that infectious at the time that it came out, and it still rides today. 10 toes
Mm.
down, New York. Shout out to BLS for putting it down. Like, that's the vibe. It's like it's still there. Like, it's such a integral part, as far as I'm concerned, of house music that
Right.
you know. And I don't know why to this day you don't see a lot of, or hear a lot of quote unquote gospel house music. I'm sure it's there. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've searched it and whatnot, but it's not like for me how it was. There's a couple of tracks out there. BB Winans does some things. I think he has a couple of tracks with Louis Vega that I really really like. But yes, there's a different genre, soulful house music, which is right next door to gospel house music. But some odd reason, soulful is a little bit more looked after than gospel house music.
Word.
Maybe all the heathens out there don't want to necessarily call it gospel, but it is because this music is a spiritual music. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's what it's
Yeah.
about. It's upliftments, empowerment. You got some troubles. It's almost like blues. You know what I mean? It's a connection to blues, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a release. It's a understanding. It's a getting yourself together mentally, spiritually, physically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what this is all
Uh,
about, man.
yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm kind of glad we're doing this. We we kind of like we kind of do our podcast like we do our sets. We don't really plan shit. We just come up with a
well,
topic
I'll
and
tell you why.
and we don't wing it, but
I'll
we're
tell you
passionate about it. So
right.
we dig deep, but a lot of it is kind of like in the moment type of thing. Like I
Well,
didn't.
let's call this. I was actually thinking about just calling this part one. This is the part one of Gospel House episode on Blend LA podcast. Let's call this part one. This is just
Yeah.
us basically doing a light dusting, so to speak, right over the whole thing. Then a deeper dive to follow much later.
Right.
And what you said earlier about how we approach music, I once heard Carl Cox say something like that. And I'm thinking he's really, really drilled down. He probably goes home, he
Mm,
probably goes in record box and lines everything up and da da down. And this song's gonna go right after that one. Probably one of them guys. These guys playing stadiums, 10,000 people up. He's rocking them. He must take so much care. And he's like, no, I put
mm,
I put All my music is in certain crates and certain files and whatnot, and it's what hits me. It's what the crowd is
Right.
vibing on. It's what that's about. And there's another DJ friend of ours, another Tony Soul, my man.
Yes.
It's very much like that as well. And I always think about, man, we betraying the music by not putting the extra work in and whatnot. Well, I get it. I understand it. And for me, I guess that's how I think when it comes to that music. Anyhow, not that I'm being lazy. It's the
Mm,
fact that I really want to have that spontaneity. I need to have that vibe. I need to read that. So put it this way: what if I go out to do a set? It's all lined up. Let's say a simple set, an hour and a half. I got 20 songs, and I get there, and the crowd ain't feeling any of it.
yeah.
And I did all this work, and this this
Yeah.
this this ain't it. This is not the
No.
thing. This is not this. And I go out the next day, and another crowd is loving every bit of it. But I've only accomplished 50% of my goal.
Right.
You know what I mean? So putting stuff together ahead of time in certain folders, and I label my folders and what they are and when I get it and kind of stuff, and I know what's in each folder, and I actually don't overcrowd the folder with too much music. This way I can closer guarantee what the vibe's gonna be like, because I can pull, oh no, this is what's gonna go here, that's what's gonna go here, and I listen to my stuff pretty often. Listen to it.
Right.
Hopefully, it doesn't get too stale by doing so.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, I'm not pulling too much from a particular crate because, or from a particular song because I really like it. And that happens a lot. Sometimes I get to a groove where I like this song. I want to hear it played. I want to hear it played loud. You know what I mean? I want to really play with it on the decks and freak it a little bit with some effects, whatnot. So hopefully, I don't get
Yeah.
do too much of that. But really,
Yeah.
doing it off the cuff for me is the only way that I know how to DJ. What only way that I prefer how to DJ. That way, it's immediate. The crowd hopefully picks up on that, and well, I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. You know what I mean?
No. So I did do some like quick diving on the whole this whole topic that we're talking about.
Hit me.
And I found it very interesting. It's like I'm like, first of all, when you had talked about soulful house music and then there's like gospel house music, I didn't know there's a lot of songs that are like are gospel house music, and there's a lot more than I thought. So I was on YouTube looking at all these different songs, but I was like, let me go back and kind of like, because I didn't really know. Well, I know where gospel music comes from. It came from the enslaved people in the fields singing about how shitty things were, and that turned into gospel music. So the person that is considered the godfather of gospel music was this dude named Thomas Dorsey. So he was born in Georgia, like in a rural area where they were farming, and he would hear the people in the fields singing these songs before it was even considered. It was spirituals. That's it was spirituals from the ancestors from Africa that they would sing while they did the bullshit work. Anyway, so he basically was like a composer and a musician. And when he got older, he moved to Chicago. So he was composing and playing the blues and secular music. He did a lot of stuff with Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. He traveled with her for 2 years and composed a lot of that music. So he has some kind of spiritual revelation, and he started getting into gospel music. And he was the one that was primarily the reason why gospel music became what it is. Like he started introducing like tambourines and clapping and those kind of things into the actual hymns that people would sing. And they're like, oh, that shit is hedonistic. It's the devil. It's all that. So he really couldn't make no money off of this music that he was creating. And then there was some convention like in 29 in Chicago, and he played some particular song and the people just loved it. And that's kind of like the genesis of how gospel music really kind of like took off in the 20s. So it's kind of like unique that this story was in Chicago, as
Right.
was some of the founders of house music. Jump ahead to, you're talking about the songs in the mid 80s. There's a DJ, Tony Humphreys, out of Zanzibar in New Jersey, who played one of the first gospel house tracks, was a song by the Joe Bear brothers or the Joe Bay brothers, however you want to stand. What is it? Stand on me or stand by me? Stand on your, hold on, I have it right here. Anyway, he played the song over and over and over at Zanzibar. It was the Joe Bear brothers, and Larry Levan would play it, and Frankie Knuckles would. So Tony Humphries played the song by the Joe Bear brothers, and then after that, like Frankie Knuckles and Larry Levan would start mixing gospel music with house music, and it kind of like blew up from there.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So,
that's
and I
interesting.
was looking up some of the, there's so many songs. Like some of my favorite songs are, where's my list? Like Shelter with Ed Nesby
Oh,
was an amazing track,
oh,
right? The song that I mentioned was Stand on Your Word by the Joe
yeah.
Bear Singers, is considered one of the first, and that was in 1985. Then you
Speaking of
have
which, I
this,
got a track by Ann Nesby called "Thank You." That's coming up pretty
yeah,
soon. Well, that those of you that get the link to the mix will be
yeah,
hearing, and that's also a spiritual song. Oh, a gospel
yeah.
track as well. So,
And then there's a music producer, Terrence Parker, who does a lot of gospel house. And then there's like Church Lady by Dennis Farrer, which is later on in the like 2000, early 2000s. One of my favorite ones has to be I Get Lifted by Barbara Tucker, which is so crazy that I'm going to put all this together by Tuesday, which is January 28th, 2025. I Get Lifted was recorded January 28th, 1985,
how about that? Wow, full
which is
circle. Yeah,
crazy. Full
full
circle. So
circle.
there's a lot of, so there's that, and then there's like Kenny, is it Bowman, and all these singers that sing a lot of this music that I thought was soulful house, but a lot of it is gospel house. And then jump ahead to now in South Africa, there's this brother, um, Kaima Music. He just came out with this song with this dude named Brian Simba called Glory. It's like the most soulful gospel house track I've ever heard.
Wow.
Have
Okay.
BPMs are like 120, and it's like today. It's today.
Okay.
And then jump ahead. I think, like you said earlier, this music is very spiritual, and it helps people, individuals, societies get through shit. And I believe when I don't like to get political because we're not political people, but I remember when Biden won his election, and I was like, oh, the song Free is about by Ultra Nate is about to come back and make a resurgence because the lyrics are just talking about you're free to do whatever you want to do. And that song blew up, and she was traveling everywhere doing her thing. They were playing with orchestras and everything. Jump ahead to, you know, early November last year. I think the next song that's been around forever is going to make a resurgence, which is Promised Land. I mean, just the lyrics alone talk about brothers and sisters, one day we will be free.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
the music is it's emotional and it's spiritual, and it helps people get through things, especially when times are like crazy. So that's it. And
Good.
that's why we play this music, because I play it because, like DJ Big D says, we are connected to it. We think we're connected to the culture, and we know where the music comes from, and we do our best to represent it in a way that when the world sees it, they respect it, and they get something out of it, which allows them to, like, you know be free of whatever they're going through and unite with everybody and anybody of like minds, regardless of who they are, and keep it pushing in a positive light. Yeah.
Yeah. Good one.
You
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
I don't speak that much.
I know.
I
I
don't
know.
speak that much, but
But what I do.
what I do when you go through things and you go through things in life and you gotta like tap in and remember the things that got you through those dark periods.
True that.
So not to go into detail, but I went through some things and last year and the music really kind of like the vibration and frequency of the music has got me through what I've been going through. And I will continue to play the music and share as much music to the world because there's plenty of music out there that the world should hear that can only uplift and make them better people.
100%. 100%.
Peace, baby.
Okay. Well, that.
So, yeah, I can't. Yeah, so we're going to put together what? An hour mix?
Yeah. Our mix of some gospel house music for you guys to check out. Touch on some of the artists that Negroni has mentioned, and maybe one or two that I have mentioned. And we're going to put something together for you guys. So if you're listening to the audio portion, stay tuned. It's going to be coming up pretty soon. And those of you that are viewing this on YouTube, don't forget to follow that link. Click over to the podcast, the audio podcast, where you can hear the full mix that Negroni and myself have done. So that's it for now. Check out that mix coming up on the audio portion of Blend LA Podcast, a podcast dedicated to the culture of house music. My name is DJ Big D.
And I go by Albius Negroni.
Well, that's going to wrap it up, everybody, for this episode of the Blend LA Podcast. Those of you who want to hear the actual audio mix that you haven't got a chance to, it will be available on...
Just go to your favorite podcast platform and type in Blend LA Podcast and it'll come up.
Simple enough. There it is, everybody. For the culture of house music, my name is DJ Big D.
And I'm Albius Negroni.
You're in Blend LA. We'll see you next time, everybody. Take care. And take care of each other.